guys, welcome to Friday nights as we're digging deeper into the theme of soil. And soil, of course, basically invites us to dig deeper. So, okay, I think this all works out. So this is our third Friday on the theme of digging deeper. Okay, here's what I really want you guys to realize. Like last week we looked at how Lawrence Rabb is like echoing Shakespeare, right? As if Shakespeare were part of the conversation. The only reason I know about Lawrence Rabb is because I'm in a class with Suzanne Lummis, and Suzanne Lummis does this incredible YouTube channel. Well, it's actually Poetry LA is the people who sponsor it, who are the creators, but she came up with her own sort of set of episodes, which is called They Write by Night. So Suzanne Lummis is known as Los Angeles's, that's a lot of S's. Suzanne Lummis is this, sorry. So Los Angeles's Suzanne Lummis is known as the queen of noir poetry. And so she does this great series on YouTube called They Write by Night, where she explores different themes of film noir and how they apply to poetry. It's an amazing series. I highly recommend it. And so what I kind of want to show you is that poetry is the original rabbit hole. Like they talk about like falling down the rabbit hole of algorithms in a Google search, you know what I mean? Well, the original rabbit hole, I think, is definitely poetry. And mostly because poems are constantly talking to each other, which I think also gives this great feeling of what's the right word for it? It's calming, right? So in a world where there's all this like sort of anxiety over time spent, like how short a lifetime can feel, how long a lifetime can feel, poetry seems to keep the spirit of humanity alive. So even after the poet is long gone, poems are talking to poems. And there is comfort in that when you're reading. There is comfort to think that Keats can talk to us long after he's passed away. And that we might be able to tell the future that we love them and maybe have them hear it, even if it's as an echo in someone else's work, you know what I mean? I think there's power and meaning in that. So, like I can't keep my son alive forever, but the way that I love my son, if I write it well enough, I don't know, it might live inside of someone else. So, that's an invisible magic, right? This sort of like, this giving of the spirit and having other spirits pick it up. You don't have to, you don't have to necessarily follow this train of thought, but let's just play inside of it for a little while. It's like you don't have to believe in the sandbox, but let's get in the sandbox and dig around for a little bit, okay? So anyways, in her They Write by Night episode that is focused on Lawrence Rabb, she is like looking at the concept of invisibility, what it is to be invisible. And for her, she equates invisibility with the outsider. Whereas I think Lawrence Rabb actually equates the invisible with the mystical, or the thing that exists, but you can't necessarily hold it in your hands, right? And so he has this poem called The Invisible Object. Here is his poem for you. Held toward light in the shape of your hands, it's clearer than water, clearer than glass, than air. It holds nothing back. Against the sky, sometimes it's red, sometimes it's blue. Set in the grass in your garden, the bees stumble through it. Looking closely inside, there's always another day where your life could be. Yet it has nothing to do with dreams that change when you changed your mind. On a table at night, it becomes the center of your house, a small fire in a darkened room, and the silence bends towards it and touches it with one finger. Lost for days, it appears suddenly in a pile of old hats. No reason to be there. No reason to be anywhere else. Well, the invisible object could be many, many, many things, right? I mean, it's so difficult because I want to just like some eager kid, I want to be like, I know what it is, I have the answer, right? I love how all of his poems have a little bit of a riddle feel, like a riddle without a true answer, because there's many, many answers to all of these poems. The invisible object to me, I guess, is not to ruin it, but for me, maybe not for you, right? I think it's imagination, right? All the things that could have happened in a single moment. I don't know if you guys ever play that game. You're like, okay, well, I did this in one of our live Zoom poetry workshops, and I hope you guys come to our next live poetry Zoom workshop. They're usually the second to last Sunday of every month. But in one of them, the prompt was, what would have happened if you would have started your day an hour earlier? And so there was a group of about 10 writers. And so for 3 minutes, they wrote all the things that would have happened if they had woken up an hour earlier. And it was phenomenal. Like, everyone thought that they would have changed the world, saved the world. Like, give them 1 hour and all the problems of the world would be solved if they could just wake up 1 hour earlier. I thought that was delightful and really telling about how we think about things in the world, right? And so we can imagine, of course, all the things that could have changed, all the different outcomes, all the different causes and events. I know I definitely play this game where I'm like, had I just turned left instead of right, how would have my life turned out differently? And that's the invisible object. It's our imagination, right? So I think to live in the world of possibility, instead of chasing after answers, which I think from my standpoint causes a ton of anxiety, because what is an answer other than an end spot or an end stop? Possibility is chasing after curiosity. So when you chase after curiosity, the world grows larger. Whereas when you find an answer, it narrows down to one thing. Boring. So dwell in possibility. And so I guess what I'm going to ask you guys is just still the title of Lawrence Rabb's poem, The Invisible Object, and write a poem telling me about your invisible object. What is it? Where do you put it? How do you handle it? Is it bigger than your pocket? Does it grow? I don't know. What is your invisible object? Good luck with that. Okay. Bye. I have to breathe.